In most remote villages, life is quiet and predictable. People live their lives, work, do housework, raise children. News usually spreads very quickly, as in most cases everyone knows each other. Nothing much happens, and if something does, then it is remembered and discussed for a long time. Rumors are started, and in the end, such fantastical stories are created that it becomes almost impossible to sort out the truth. But the hero of our story today managed to unravel a long thread of strange incidents and bring to light those who are really involved in the crimes. Make yourself comfortable, let's get started. It happened in the distant forests of Transbaikal during the short northern summer. Residents of a small village woke up early in the morning from the disturbing sound of a bell in the local church. The only reason why it would ring so early is because something was happening in the village. Everyone started running out of their houses and saw thick smoke. It turned out that the house of the local chairman was on fire. He was a very important and prosperous citizen. He rarely helped people, but he was a fair leader. Everyone respected him and was even a little afraid of him. In secret, many wished him harm, but these desires never came to fruition. Now, when his house was on fire, everyone forgot about their attitude towards this man and, rallying, rushed to his aid. People were dragged out of the fire and carried a safe distance away, and volunteers brought in buckets of water and sand to douse the flames. They managed to put out the fire by noon, but unfortunately, the house was destroyed. A special investigation team arrived at the scene. In an attempt to save time, they quickly declared the cause of the fire to be faulty electrical wiring. Then they returned to the city. And only the local ranger, examining the territory adjacent to the burned-out house, pointed out the wolf tracks that led first towards the house and then away from it. He also noticed that the tracks seemed to indicate that the wolf was injured, as it was dragging a hind leg, but there was no fresh blood, so the injury was likely an old one. Not far from the chairman's house lived his friend, a local farmer. He kept a whole flock of sheep and carefully guarded his farm. There was a high fence around the pen, so his sheep were safe. But unfortunately, this did not save them. The next night, someone broke into his farm and attacked all the sheep. This time, more attentive residents immediately recognized that this was the work of a wolf, since his tracks were everywhere, and only the ranger recognized in these prints the same predator. Why did the wolf make his way to this farm? After all, there are many smaller flocks closer to the forest, and access to them is much easier. It was as if the wolf specifically hunted these sheep. Local residents were seriously frightened. They began to gather together to kill all the wolves in the area. The ranger was well aware of the consequences this would have for the local fauna. He tried to reason with people that they would first need to sort out the situation, but the people could not be stopped. The ranger was upset that no one listened to him, and he decided to go around the nearby forest to see if there were many wolves living in the area. While walking through the forest, he heard someone calling for help. Running towards the voice, he stumbled upon a bear pit into which a local hunter had fallen. The ranger knew this man well. He was distinguished by a particular cruelty toward animals, and he even hunted by poaching. But since he was a good friend of the same local chairman, nobody punished him. When the ranger pulled him out of the pit, he told him that a huge lame wolf was chasing him, and while running, the hunter shot at him but missed, which scared the wolf into the thicket. Distracted, the hunter then fell into the hole and broke his leg, then unable to climb back out. It was the third incident in 3 days involving this mysterious wolf with a limp. The ranger asked the hunter what he had in common with the chairman and the farmer that had to do with this beast. The man was silent for a long time. Then he looked down and told the ranger a terrible story. A few years ago, these 3 men went hunting in the forest. They took guns and a lot of alcohol with them. Quite drunk, they were looking for adventure. They loaded their guns and went into the forest in search of easy prey. On their way, they met several small birds, but this was not enough for them. Then they came across a she-wolf with her pups. She was far enough away and did not pose any danger to them, but the drunken men shot the mother and all her pups, hitting one wolf pup in the hind paw. They saw that he ran away limping, but were unable to find him. Deciding that he wouldn't survive alone in the forest, they left. After sobering up in the morning, they began to have regrets about what they had done. They agreed not to tell anyone about what happened. Now it all began to make sense. It was likely this very wolf pup who not only survived that day, but also grew up and matured. He returned to the village with one sole purpose: to take revenge on those who treated his mother and brothers so cruelly. The ranger realized that now this wolf would no longer return to these parts since he had done what he had come to do. Back in the village, he told the story to everyone, urging them not to trap or kill other wolves. This time, he was able to convince them. The chairman was removed from his post and a new one was elected, the farmer moved away, and the hunter never took up a gun again. Thanks to the ranger, the wolf population remained intact, and the lame wolf was avenged. Friends, let's be kind to each other. Let's not blindly blame innocent animals for what they may not have done. Local residents almost exterminated all the wolves in the area, although the people themselves were to blame. In any situation, you must first understand everything, then draw conclusions in order to make informed decisions. After all, it could save someone's life, and possibly more than one.